right. Hello and welcome to Wellness with Watson. I'm your host, Coach Lacy, and you are tuning in to our special segment, Lacy Listens, The Hero's Journey. Today, we have an incredibly special guest whose story embodies the essence of transformation, resilience, and self-discovery. So joining us is Stella Tudor, a remarkable woman whose journey from the small country of Moldova to creating a life of purpose and passion in the United Kingdom. Her story is nothing short of inspiring. Stella's early years in Moldova, during its tumultuous times in transitioning from the Soviet Union to an independent nation, laid the foundation for her strong values, resilience, and drive for a different life. Her determination led her to Romania for university, where she's not only faced academic challenges, but also navigated the complexities of being viewed as an outsider. Yet her spirit remained unbroken, and her journey continued to unfold in a beautiful and unexpected ways. So now Stella resides in the United Kingdom. She's embraced her role as a wife, a mother, and an entrepreneur, all while maintaining her deep love for people and profound desire to help others unlock their potential. So, without further ado, let's dive into the heart and soul of her journey, explore her trials, triumphs, and lessons as she garnered along the way. Stella, welcome. Welcome to Wellness with Watson, and thank you for joining us to share your inspiring story.
Oh, it's such an honor to be here, Lacey. I'm really happy to be here, and thank you for this beautiful introduction too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Stella, your journey began in Moldova during a turbulent time. How do you think growing up in such a dynamic environment has influenced your perspectives and your ambitions?
I was born during Soviet Union times, and when I was a small child, Soviet Union collapsed and my country became independent. And so, yes, there is a lot that came with it, and I've witnessed a lot of changes around me. The whole country was trying to decide like who I am, who are we as a nation, who are we as people. And so I kind of absorbed all of it, and I had a lot of time to reflect on my own dreams. And I remember even being a child, I would always dream of traveling and exploring the world, because I always thought like it can't be that it's just this here. It's a bigger world, and I really, really want to explore it. So I of course tried to adapt and fit into the society as it was. And I've learned a lot from, the values and everything, the tradition and the culture and everything. And I'm incredibly grateful for every experience, really. But at the same time, I wanted to stay true to my dreamy nature as well, and to embrace that. So, yeah.
Now, are your parents still in Moldova?
Yes, they are. Yes.
Okay. Do you have brothers and sisters or family over there too?
So I have a younger brother, and he is also in the UK. He decided to come closer to me. But yeah, it's two of us. And interestingly, right, I was born, during Soviet Union, and then my brother was born after my country became independent. So even though it's just 6 years difference between us, but it was almost like different eras, right? And yeah, sometimes I feel like I lived multiple lifetimes in one, because I've experienced all of these different changes, cultural and traditional changes, on my journey. But that's what makes life interesting, I guess, for me. So yeah.
Absolutely. So how is the war in Ukraine affecting your family in Moldova?
That was a very, very difficult time when the war started there, because my parents live only 25 miles away from Ukraine.
Mm,
So it was a very difficult time, and especially because the airports were closed in Moldova during that time, and we weren't able to travel Unfortunately, my grandmother also passed away when the airport was closed, so I wasn't able to go and say goodbye to her. So that really like affected me, and I had to sit with it and really heal that part and forgive myself for
Mm,
not being able to go there during, that phase when my family needed the support. And I still haven't been to Moldova since the war started. Hopefully next year, hopefully, but we'll see. So, yeah, that's just a little bit about how everything has been since then.
yeah, yeah. So do you have any family in Russia or Ukraine?
I don't have family in Russia or Ukraine, but I had so my grandmother's sister lived in Ukraine. She passed away a few years ago. But interestingly, now that I embraced my shamanic journey,
Mm,
recently she came to me in my
mm,
shamanic journeyings, and it was very healing to start to connect with my ancestors in this way and to find those puzzle pieces that help me understand more about my roots. And
mm,
that's really, really important because as Stella in this lifetime, I am aware of my experiences in this lifetime, but sometimes there are things that are there and you're like, but where are they coming from? Because I haven't experienced them myself. And
mhm,
for me, a lot of those have been related to the traumas that my ancestors went through. And through my shamanic practice at the moment, as I'm going deeper and deeper into it, I
mm,
am connecting with my ancestors more and I'm able to have connection and communication within this shamanic journeying and meditation and all the practices that I'm doing. And that is very healing.
absolutely, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about your shamanic journey. How did you get started with that?
With the shamanic journey in particular, I mean, I've been doing intuitive work and I've been embracing different techniques for years now. But with the shamanic practice in particular, I started looking into it last year when one of my beautiful friends invited me to a 1 week experience. It was like a course. So we had to choose two main subjects to look at. The first one I chose was healing through color, and I just knew I want to do it. It was beautiful. But the second one I wasn't very sure about. However, there was a shamanic journeying subject there, and I was like, that sounds very interesting.
Mm,
Um, but I'm not sure. So I started asking for signs, and very, very clear signs came to me, and I just knew I have to go for it. So as we started that experience within, I think, the first or the second shamanic journeying, and for those who are watching, if you're not familiar with shamanic journeyings, it's it's a practice where a shaman will use their drum and they will make the beat of the drum, and then a circle of people, or maybe one, depending on the setup, a circle of people usually will go into that state of meditation, but it goes on a deeper level. So in the first or second experience, I had that connection with with the sister of my grandmother, and in Ukraine, because we were meant during that journey to send healing to Ukraine. So my whole body reacted, and I started shaking. It wasn't painful, but I saw that something is happening, and I was called to look deeper and deeper into it. So after that week, I came back home, and then I started having, um, insights coming to
mm,
me, intuitive
mhm,
hits, and it would just happen immediately. If I would ask a question about, oh, what should I do here, or when do I need to open this kind of experience or product or whatever, I would just receive the information much faster because I was more open now.
mm,
So from June last year when I went to this course until December, many things happened for me. I opened my YouTube channel, I opened my membership, I created so many other things connected with people. And I opened the membership in December, although I was planning to open it at the end of January and I didn't know at that time why. However, I followed my intuition. So I opened it in December. And then in January, I understood why I had to do it in December, because I found a course that is a 2 years course about like all shamanic practices. And so the
Mm,
universe wanted me to be ready for that.
yeah.
And when I saw it, although I didn't plan to commit to a 2 years course, I was like, I can't take it out of my head. I just need to go further. So I started it in January and it's going to be a 2 years experience. But I already like learned so much that I can't wait for the next experiences.
Wow, that's amazing. So tell everybody what you do for a living and about your business.
Sure. So, my business is under the umbrella of intuitive guidance. And in other words, my passion is to create the space for people to find and connect with their own truth. And that can mean different things to different people. For somebody, it may mean what do they need to do in the future in 5 years' time? And they really want to connect with that vision of their future, but not only like on a piece of paper, but energetically as well, and then bring that here. For somebody else may mean, hey, I really want to understand more about my soul, to call in parts of my soul, to go into a past life, then we'll go there. So in different ways, I do facilitate the space for people to connect with their own truth. And that is my biggest passion and joy. That's why I call myself an intuitive guide, because I
Mm,
don't tell people what to do. I I create the space for them and offer the guidance so that they can understand what they
mm,
need to do, you know. So and
mhm.
I feel that this is something that's very powerful. So that's in a nutshell about my business.
So, circling back to your early years, speaking of space, you mentioned a sense of being in a temporary space during your early years in Moldova. Can you elaborate on what motivated you to seek something beyond your immediate surroundings?
Yes, curiosity.
Mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Um, I am a dreamer, and I embraced this part of myself later in life, because at the beginning of my life, I thought like the everybody around me was following a certain cycle or pattern of like, this is what you need to do in life, and the steps need to be like this and like this and like that. So I was like, okay, fine. You know, when you're a child, you just adapt to the rules of your society. But then I was like, okay, I accept it, respect it,
mm-hmm,
but there has to be something more. So curiosity. Then I started having dreams that were very vivid and very real. And I remember I was a teenager and I had a very vivid dream, like I was flying in an airplane. And by that time, my first flight was when I was 20 years old. Okay.
Oh,
So I was a teenager and I had a dream that I was flying above a very specific landscape.
mm,
And I was like, wow, this is fascinating. And I haven't seen that landscape in my life because in Moldova, that landscape doesn't exist. So I remember I woke up in the morning and I said to my mom, Mom, I've seen this in my dream. I think at some point in my life I'm going to go there. And my mom was like, yeah, okay, whatever, it's just a dream. Well, when I was 20 years old, as I had a conversation with you earlier,
yeah.
I went to the US for a work and travel experience. And so the flight was like 18 hours flight in total, but the last part of the flight was above Wyoming, right? And I saw that landscape. It was the mountains and the like the last part of the flight to Bozeman was more like closer to the ground because it wasn't like over the ocean flight or something.
Yeah.
So it was closer to the ground. And as I looked through the window, I said, this can't be. This is the exact thing that I've seen in my dream. So when I was a child, I had this, I guess, combination between curiosity, determination for hard work, because I was never afraid of like working hard and like making my dreams happen, and these intuitive messages that I wasn't fully recognizing at that point. They were coming in, but I wasn't embracing them fully. Now I do, and I'm very happy I
Oh,
do.
wow, that's wild. So tell me about the differences that you noticed when you were here in the States, like in Wyoming to Moldova. What was the most shocking thing, and what would you say are the biggest differences between the United States
Oh,
and Moldova?
loads of differences, huge
Yeah,
differences.
yeah.
Um, but okay, I'll tell you what fascinated me. Nature, because I
Mm,
went to this beautiful part of the US, which
hmm
is clearly I was guided to go there, honestly,
hmm
because the land there was so powerful for me. And
Yeah,
I know you're aware like of
yeah.
what I mean, just by spending the whole summer in Yellowstone National Park. It was life-changing for me. So as I was traveling towards Wyoming, I've seen the roads, which huge motorways, big cars. I mean, it's like it was completely different, right? But then that space in Yellowstone National Park that I was guided to was really, really divine for me. It was a divine experience because it opened me up to, hey, there is potential for you, Stella, to connect with nature. So even in shamanism, you connect with nature a lot. You communicate with all the elements.
Mm,
It's we are, in the same system. So when
mm,
I arrived there, I had this, I will say, luxury of spending the whole summer in
mm,
Yellowstone National Park, and that has been eye-opening for me. And another thing that I loved it was because it was a work and travel experience for students,
hmm
just for the summer. I loved to connect from people from all around the world. And that was something that told me I want more of that in my life. I
hmm
really want to connect with people from so many different countries. And now, honestly, I can't have enough. I just came back from Morocco a few days ago. I love to travel. I really do. So I feel like it's inspiring me. I love people's stories. I love to learn about their culture. So it's just beautiful that we can experience that in this lifetime and at this age, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. So there's more nature over here in America than you would say in Moldova. And what about the UK? How about, is there any nature, like a lot of nature or any mountains?
So in the area where I live, there are no mountains, but I love the nature. And I know many people will say, oh, it rains a lot in the UK, but actually this kind of weather helps me focus and
Mhm.
helps me just with my everything, the energy and ideas and just going for walks. I love the nature here because there is a lot of green. It's always
Mm,
green because, as it rains, right? It's a
yeah.
lot of greenery, and that's what I love so much. In the US, what I love is that there are like in one day you can drive through different time zones, different landscapes. You can go from, I don't know, yeah, Yellowstone to somewhere in California. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like you can
It's a
just
big one.
travel in one day, 2 days, and see so many things, and that feeling of freedom. That's a feeling of freedom where you don't need to show your passport at every like 100 miles or something. It's
Oh,
just like
yeah.
it's a huge thing, and I understand that everybody who lives in the US, it's normal, right, to just travel without having to
Yeah.
show. For example, in Europe, or especially in Moldova, because Moldova is not part of European Union,
Mm,
We had to have lots of like visas and permits to go even like
Mm.
10 kilometers from one country to another. So that was another thing that I really enjoyed, like not having to worry about, oh my God, I go from one state to another and having to show passports and stuff like that. But I loved the landscape in the US, and I loved that, at the end of my program, I traveled a lot in the US, and
Mhm.
I've seen one of my favorite places was Bryce Canyon. Is this how you pronounce it? Bryce Canyon. I
Mhm.
loved seeing that, especially that we arrived at night and then when we woke up in the morning, I was like,
Mhm.
oh, it was breathtaking. It was
Mm.
absolutely stunning. So I loved all of that. In Moldova, the land is more flat. It's a small country.
Mm.
But what Moldova is known for is like the wine. People make
Mm.
a lot of wine because it's a lot of sunshine in the summer, and there are really delicious grapes that grow
Mm.
in Moldova, so the wine is good. But then when I lived in Romania they have mountains, really
Mm.
amazing wildlife, and the
Mhm.
sea as well. So yeah,
Oh.
I love nature.
Oh, wow. So you were accepted into a Romanian university, correct? And
Yes,
okay, so that was like a significant milestone for you. Can
absolutely.
you describe the emotions and the thoughts you experienced when you learned you were the third, I think it was the third international student that was accepted from Moldova? Is that correct?
So yeah, so when after my high school in Moldova, I had this dream to just go to Romania because it was the closest country, and like the official language in Moldova was Romanian after the Soviet Union collapsed.
Oh.
However, in Moldova, after like so many years under Soviet Union, the language became a mixture of Romanian and Russian words. And even the Romanian words, they had like a very specific dialect. So
Mhm.
over the years, it just transformed like that. So when I went to Romania, when I finished my high school, I applied to three different universities, two in Moldova and one in Romania. And this one in Romania was offering three places to the students in Moldova. And I was the third accepted, which was like mind blowing for me at that stage. Um, but considering what I described with the language thing and dialect and all of these changes,
Mhm.
I applied for journalism. How
Oh,
crazy!
wow. Wow. Oh my gosh. Whoa.
So yeah, it was, I don't know, for some reason I just like to throw myself into like lots of challenges.
Yeah. How many languages do you speak?
So I speak Romanian. I I understand everything in Russian. I can speak a little. I need to think a lot about the phrases now. French a little bit, and English.
Oh, that is incredible. Now, did you learn all of that in school or did you learn that through your travels in college?
I'll tell you this, English was the language that I never learned at school. And
Ah.
so when I went to the US when I was 20 years old, I couldn't speak a word, and I just
Oh.
learned a few words, but then I came back after that period of 3 months. And then when I came to the UK with my husband 11 years ago, again, I wasn't speaking English because I only had like a few words in my vocabulary, but I
Mm.
challenged myself again. So the communication part has
Mm.
been something that I had to overcome again and again and again. Because, as I said, I was born in Soviet Union, then my country became independent, then went to Romania, learned a different dialect, to the level of when I met my husband, because he is from Romania. When I met my husband, he couldn't tell that I am from a different country because I learned at that level the dialect, in Romania. And so then I came to the UK and I work. My whole work
Mm.
is in English, right? So I
Mhm.
really wanted to challenge myself to learn how to express myself in a different language because to me, every language is a tool for us to express what's in our heart. And
Mm-hmm.
um, if we have more of these tools, then it's better, you know. But
Yeah,
if we can continue to develop and grow and self-discover, like discover ourselves as well, then we will eventually find the words to express ourselves too.
absolutely. So after college, you said you went to college for journalism.
Yeah.
Did you go on in journalism, or what did you do after college for your career?
So during my university, I worked in press agencies. I was
Mm,
doing night shifts. I was working in online press as well. But then I don't know, it's just I realized that I wasn't enjoying working for those big companies that were writing articles, and there was so much pressure, and you had to write in a specific way based
mm,
on politics and stuff like that. So I really didn't enjoy that energy.
mm,
And so what I did instead, I went into customer service. So I worked a lot in customer service. This is what really helped me connect with people on a
mm,
deeper level. And like a lot of the times I would talk to customers and they would actually ask me, "Hey, did you have a special training of how to talk to us?" Because it's like, no, but that was always my curiosity to connect with people and to really get to know them. So I worked a lot in customer service, even in the UK when I came after I practiced my English. And yeah, and then eventually after I had my daughter, I decided to just embrace my own path of entrepreneurship.
mm-hmm. And how long have you been an entrepreneur, and how old is your daughter?
I had an attempt to create a business before I had her, and
Mm-hmm.
I opened a beauty salon and then I sold it. Anyway, that
Mm,
was a different story. And actually, I sold it because it became busy, and I
mm-hmm.
realized that there is no space to grow that salon because you know when you're doing a brick and mortar business you can only like expand so much. So I'm like, no, I need something that's more flexible and has the potential to grow bigger. So anyway, after I sold the salon, I went to job, then I had my daughter, and then she is 6.5. So after I had her, I like lost, like some of the things happened that really told me it was time for me to embrace my own path. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is when I really, really said there is no way back. I just can't go back to the
Yeah,
standard routine and stuff. I had to create my own path.
yeah. So what was is the business that your first online business, is that the business you're doing now, or did you start with a different business and then transition to where you're at now?
No, this is the first online business I've ever had. And when I started, is interesting because I started with readings, a lot of tarot, oracle readings. Um, I wanted to just share my gifts, and really I was very curious about how my energy can help other people. How can I
Mhm.
be of service? So I was
Mm,
practicing all of these things out of curiosity to see how can I be of service. So I started with doing readings, and then I learned a lot about neurolinguistic programming, future life progression, all of these things. Like at the beginning, I offered free sessions, collaborations with people until one day I asked for signs from the universe, and my daughter was a baby, and I was like, I'm all in. I really want to do this, but I need a sign that, you know, this is something that I should embrace as career. And within a career path, you do what you love, but you also, at some point, it has to be an exchange, a financial exchange as well. So I was like, universe, if this is what I need to do, I just need a sign, the smallest sign. So interestingly, what happened was I was offering these free sessions with the techniques that I was learning until somebody told me, Stella, you helped me so much. I want to pay you for that.
Oh, oh no,
And that
no.
was like, it wasn't about me even like taking the money from that person, but that was the sign that I needed. That
Yeah,
was the sign, you know?
yeah. So what was your first like product online? Did you see one-on-one clients for a while, or did you jump right into building a website and having a product? How did that transition work?
Loads and loads and lots of one-to-one sessions,
Yeah.
especially during the time when my daughter was a baby. She went
Mm-hmm.
through some really challenging times, and I went through those times with her because she had some health problems. So I had to be there for her. So I couldn't focus on big projects. But
Mm-hmm.
what I was able to do was to create flexibility and offer one-to-one sessions. So I
Mm-hmm.
did loads of one-to-one sessions. I worked on different platforms to provide intuitive readings as well. So I was providing my services on other platforms while also building connections on social media and online, and then offering my one-to-one services to people like that. Then I transitioned into packages, like
Mm.
working with people for more than just one session, a
Yep.
few sessions a month, 3 months, 6 months. And then recently, as you know, I opened my membership. I'm so happy I did because it took me a long time, but I finally got to a place where my daughter is no longer a baby.
Mhm.
And it's, I can focus my time and energy into this kind of juicy projects that I've been waiting for such a long time.
Absolutely. And so, has there been anybody in your life that you've worked with that has been really inspiring or helped you along your journey, in going from, brick and mortar and then deciding to go online with your own business? Has there been
I would
anybody
say
instrumental?
I would say every person that I ever connected with is inspiring and their
Yeah.
stories are inspiring. And I believe that we are messengers for each other in so many different ways because sometimes you just think about something or ask yourself a question and then you would randomly talk to a stranger and then they would say a phrase and you'd say, "Oh, that phrase sounds like a response to my question." So I learned how to really appreciate these signs from the universe and from around me and what people say, and even those uncomfortable and challenging situations with certain people in our life, I take them as gifts because they always teach me something important. So I
Mm.
would say every single person that comes into my life, every person is an inspiration for me.
Absolutely. And is your family, your extended and your immediate family, are they supportive of your business online? Is there anybody in your life that is, a little bit skeptical of what you're doing? Do you find that everybody's pretty, supportive, or is there people you encounter that are like, "What are you doing?" Because I know for
Well,
me, I've had that.
yeah. I mean, there are people who tell me, "Well, Stella, I don't understand what you do, but if you like it, just go for it." And if there are people who don't want to be in my presence because of the type of work that I do, then they're welcome to leave. I mean, I'm not trying to just pressure anyone into anything, but I would say yes, I had say phrases from people, phrases like what is this? Like what exactly do you do? Is this something that's ooh, like is this not dangerous or whatever? And I'm like, nothing is dangerous. I work with everything that is around us. I believe in the power and the energy of love. I really do believe this is the most beautiful and powerful energy in the universe because if we can approach every situation, every connection with love, even if we go through something really challenging, with love and gratitude for the experience, then I think we can create a more enjoyable path for ourselves.
Yeah, and for everyone around us.
Mm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, looking forward, your vision for the world involves helping others connect with their higher selves and their intuition. How do you see your work evolving to further support this vision?
Mm. So I believe that our service to others starts from us connecting with ourselves and
Mm,
continuously doing the work on ourselves. And this is what I do every single day. And even
mm,
the course that I started now, the shamanic practitioner course, it was with this intention. It wasn't necessarily to have at the end of it a shiny certificate or anything like that. It was more about my intention
mm,
to connect with myself more,
mm,
to recognize parts of myself, because then when we step into the world and we offer our service to other people around us, it's important that we are strong in our own energy and we are aware of what belongs to us and what's
mm,
not ours, because
mm.
that's how we can then create healthy connections with people around us too. So going forward, my intention remains to continuously grow and discover myself while growing my beautiful community and space where I invite intuitive creators to connect with their own truth. In my membership, we do a lot of activities, guidance, readings. We connect with each other. We share our stories because stories are healing and powerful. And so in the future, I'm hoping at some point to also be able to facilitate live experiences for people and to create some other exciting products too,
Yeah,
which
so
I
in
have a few in
person.
mind.
Very cool. So you're going to bring this to your immediate community in person?
That's what I'm hoping for. I don't know when
Yeah.
this will happen, but
Yeah.
hopefully at some point in the future.
Yeah, I think that that's really important. All of us live online, and we sometimes forget that there are people out there who don't want to join us there, and maybe we need to be able to reach them as well. That's a big goal of mine too, is to bring things in person. So, what advice do you have to offer for someone who feels stuck in their circumstances but dreams of a different life, much like you once did?
Mhm. Um, I love to say always that sometimes it's about changing your perspective,
Mm,
because say, for example, you go through something challenging, right? And maybe you're going through something that's hard for you or your family member, the person who you need to be there for, which, it happened for me, that I had to be there for my family members, and say that is the situation, that's what's happening. And then it's about how we choose to look at it that
mm,
then determines how we go through it, and then
mhm,
how we then go to the other side of that challenge. And what do I
mhm.
mean by this is, so as I was going through my challenges, I had to remind myself every single day, every morning, that there are also so many things that I can be grateful for. And
Mhm,
there's so much that I can learn about myself during this challenge. And there is so much that I can discover within myself as well. New levels of strength and creativity, and to reach out for help. That's another thing. It's important to voice out what you're going through. And if you don't have people around you who understand you, then look for circles, look for people who will be there available or able to listen to you. Because sometimes all you need is to be heard. You don't need advice. You don't need people to tell you what to do. You just need a space where you will say out loud what you're thinking about,
mhm,
and then it just becomes easier and better and lighter. So my advice would be, work on the perspective of your situation. You can Yes, you can choose to say it's very hard and it's never ending. Or you can choose to say, yes, it's hard now, but what is it that I'm also grateful for in this situation? And
mhm,
how do I visualize myself going forward?
mhm,
And yeah, to not be afraid to ask for help as well.
mhm. Oh, I love that. I love that. Well, I think that I think that you are a very dynamic individual, and I really love hearing your story and the connections that have been made, especially that dream that you had about, flying over America. I think that is so cool. And I want to really thank you for coming on today and sharing your story with us. And for individuals who are interested in learning from you or working with you, what is the best way to connect and engage with you?
I am the most active on Facebook, and everybody can find me as my name, as you can see it on the screen, Stella Tudor. So you can find me on Facebook, and there you will know, you'll see like all the other things that I do also on my website, but uh, also other things that I create is my own YouTube channel, which is
Okay.
Intuitive Creators channel. And I do have my space now, Intuitive Creators Club, which is a membership. But the first contact with me can be through my website, stellatudor.com, and or on my profile on Facebook, Stella Tudor.
Awesome. 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 Everybody go over to her YouTube channel and subscribe. Give her a like on her most recent video. And I just really want to thank you for coming on our show today and sharing your story. It's very inspiring and you're just a beautiful light. And I'm just so happy to know you, Stella.
Oh, thank you so much, Lacey. It's been an honor to be here with you today. Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody have a wonderful day and we'll see you next time. Ciao. Yay.